Yeah, and is there somebody who wants to stay?
Chris, there's a chair here too if you don't want to wiggle your head.
No softball, please.
Thank you.
They were there before their state championship. So they were really well.
We're kind of a funny thing.
What's that?
He said he was really out really early. He said he must have something that started like in say let me out. I'll hold 30 seconds.
I love that you're wearing I saw you look for that one, so you look
It is 5:30. We're going to call this the regular meeting of the board to order. Would everybody please stand? Mr. Fitzpatrick, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. A couple of quick reminders, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up today. And please remember, as I try to figure this out on my iPad, to turn off the volume on your phones. There we go. Yeah, I just recently synced my phone with my iPad. I don't want messages to pop up while we're doing this. That would just not be appropriate. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance, cell phone. Real quick show of hands. Is anyone here for public comment on non-agenda items? So things that aren't on the agenda. Can I get a show of hands? We don't have anybody here for comment on non-agenda items? Okay, great. So if there is no comment for non-agenda items, I will turn to the other board members and ask if there are any board comments at this time. Yes.
I just wanted to, I guess it's Mr. Fiedbrenner. I thought the Heritage Night that you guys put on the other night was absolutely fabulous. So thank whoever put that on, but
Teachers, they did a great job.
it was really good. Thank you.
I can do things about it too. Trustees, anything else? Thank you for that, Sharon. Okay. And again, there were no public comments on non-agenda items, so we will move right along to approval of the minutes for November 14th. Trustees, do we have any changes to the board minutes as submitted? Seeing none at this point. Oh, did you?
Can I ask for ideas for future board meetings? Is that separate or is that part of the
That comes up on item number 3. So, do we have any changes or corrections for the minutes? Seeing none at this time, I would entertain a motion to pass the minutes or approve the minutes as submitted for November 14th.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Did you get that, Pamela? I did. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further comment? None? All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes are approved. Item number 2, update from our high school representative, Sophia. We missed you last month.
I was on a choir trip. so
Wonderful.
I went with our top choir to go sing with other choirs all over the Northwest, and we had a wonderful director, so it was awesome. And he was from Gonzaga, I think. He's the head choir guy there. But just we're going well at the high school. Winter sports just kicked off, and wrestling had Hamilton and Duke matches, and they're doing okay. Basketball was recently in Missoula. They're 4 games in. They're also doing okay. Just leave it there.
We learn from adversity. That's all right.
It's good character building games, are they?
Early in the season.
IBA is kicking off, which is our intramural basketball. And that's a really fun way to encourage a community sense in a high school, and a lot of people really like it, and people who didn't consider themselves athletes get really into it, and it's hilarious, and the teachers play, it's wonderful. So if you have time to go watch an IBA game, you'll be entertained. You guys should have some handy dandy high school slips there, but just a couple dates. On the 23rd we have a talent show, which is always interesting. The 19th is a choir concert, and we'll see you there if you said show up. Next Wednesday, the Link crew, which is our freshman orientation crew, is having a movie at the movie theater. So we have one of the theaters we're going to watch The Grinch with our freshmen. So tomorrow we're doing an activity with our freshmen and then getting them permission slips to go watch The Grinch as a group. Last Friday we had a hat day to sponsor the family in Pablo that lost their child on Thanksgiving. And this Friday there's another hat day waiting to be approved to sponsor Lynn, who is a para, and she's stuck in Seattle right now. She's very sick, but we're trying to bring her home for the holidays. So trying to raise some more money for that. On January 12th, a Central America musical group called Maracuba, we're trying to start a class outreach program, and they're going to try and come. They're having discussions right now about coming and doing master classes and instrument classes and a performance for us, so that's very exciting. Theater Production Club is a student-led organization who tried to pick up theater after the teacher at the head of that left. So that's very awesome. They just finished casting, and it's sponsored by 2 teachers, but almost entirely student-run. And they have shows on March 3rd and 4th. HOSA, which is Future Health Professionals of America, is another health group, and a lot of the health interns are in that. And they're taking dues and starting state registration right now, and they'll go and compete competitively and represent Polson. And the health internship, we're into our 3rd rotation of 2 weeks, and I think it's going fantastically from my own perspective. We recently got tablets for that program as well as the AP tablet program they gave us, Service Pro 3s, which are a little nicer than the other ones, for our specific health internship. And from a student perspective, I find it very, very useful, and I take notes just like this every day in the hospital. So that's going well, and there are fewer bug problems with these ones. The other tablets have been having a few issues, but overall have been going over really well. The senior class just made a whole bunch of decisions about graduation. We picked out colors and flowers and the song. And our motto is what lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within. And that's Ralph Waldo Emerson. So that's us. There you go. And then my final thing is I'm also a member of NHS. And I have been going out to the community today looking for volunteer work, but I was asked to address well-connected members of our community in the hopes to find volunteer work for a group of eager, responsible, but relatively unskilled high school students. High-risk environments are maybe not the right place, but we'd love to have any volunteer work that you have for us. We'd love to shovel. I've asked a couple of organizations around the city, and I'm in contact with the Council of the Aging and Boys and Girls Club. So I'm trying to find opportunities there, but if any of you can think of anything, you can contact me. And that'd be
How would we go
awesome.
about doing that?
You can probably get a hold of Mr. Wilson because he's here every day. He's with house. But also, I can also leave you personal information if you.
And how many students is it?
There's around 30 of us
30?
in National Honor Society. Not all of them could probably be in one place at the same time because we don't work that way. But we could get a pretty good group if we have a good, time, date, area, job.
I'll be in touch.
And that's everything I have. Sorry it took so much time.
No, not at all. We appreciate it. Trustees, any questions for Sophia? Sophia, thanks again. We so appreciate your insight into what's going on at the high school. Okay, item number 3, trustee suggestions for additional agenda items.
I might have one.
Yes, okay.
Madam Chair, I would like to bring to the board the issue with the flashing lights on our rule buses. I would like the board to discuss this and maybe take action on it. Our rule buses, even in snowstorms, do not run that flashing light. It's on there, it's safety. You watch out-of-town buses go through and they're running that flashing light. I want it on.
I seem to remember we briefly mentioned this a couple of board meetings ago. Is there a policy about that, or is that just a discretion?
There's not a state law, I'm not going to go that far, but we can mandate.
Okay.
I was told they were automatic. If it's foggy, they come on. Well,
And or there's a toggle on it, when you open the door, they automatically come on, but you can take the toggle off running down the highway. And there was some complaints from the community based on that. But we'll talk about that, about the.
at least out of town is my concern.
Let's do it.
So do we need to make that an official agenda item for the whole?
It could be
Okay,
part of the
could we just-
could be part of the transportation. I would suggest that we start there.
I'll talk with Mike.
Okay, would that be sufficient?
Yep.
Fair enough? Okay, yeah, because I want to get this, with everything going on, this is a safety issue. We should address that sooner rather than later.
That has been done, we have taken what you might. It doesn't mean there wasn't one. I don't know where it went from there, I
Okay.
guess, is what you
Okay,
said.
so we'll double check with that and we'll, okay. Sounds good. And do follow up with me, just let me know, so we'll add it to the agenda for next time if it still needs it and it's not resolved yet. Okay. Any other suggestions? Okay. Actually, before we do that, for those of you who weren't able to make the special meeting where we talked about the third-party investigation into the conflicts that happened during homecoming and following up on that, looking into student attitudes, teacher attitudes, what can be done, some accusations, following up on those, really looking into those. I'm going to make sure for those of you who weren't here, you'll all get a copy of that, the conclusions and the recommendations. Essentially, there were some recommendations for some training for staff as well as kiddos, and so we'll be following up on that, I'm sure. Okay, all right. Number 4, Cherry Valley Family Math Night presentation, Rhonda Crowell and teachers. And just so everybody knows, could we have all the teachers introduce themselves, please?
Yes, we will. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Rhonda Crowell. I'm the principal at Cherry Valley Elementary this year. November was a really busy month for us with Native American Cultural Heritage Month. We had dancers and we had a wonderful dinner. But we also had our first, for this year, our first Fun Family Math Night. And so Whitney Buckman and Joni Bowen are going to be telling you and sharing a little bit about that.
Hi, I'm Whitney Buckman. I teach first grade at Cherry Valley, and this is Joni Bowen. And we got together and decided that we wanted to do an outreach to our families and bring more families into our school. And one of the ways we wanted to do that in connection was through math. So we wanted to give you guys kind of some pictures and a snapshot of what it looked like and kind of what our goal was. But basically, we wanted it to be family-centered. We wanted our kids to build their conceptual knowledge. We wanted it to be fun, and it was focused pre-K too, because we have kids in that range at this point.
Okay, we had a lot of different rooms, and we thought we'd just really run through it fast so you could kind of see some of the action that was happening at Math Night. We had activities in the gym that were called Get in Shape, and we did all sorts of fantastic things. We built shaped pizzas, and we hopped and skipped and jumped our way to better counting skills. We built lots of crazy three-dimensional structures and did a lot of pattern block designs, and this was one of the, I think, one of the most favorite activities. It was a lot of fun. It was our Get in Shape section.
So here's a few more pictures from that room. We also did 3D constructions. We tried to make it more hands-on for our kids and families, and it was actually kind of interesting to see how many of our parents got involved in some of that. They were building these massive structures that couldn't fit on the plate, so it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think the parents were at the table longer than the kids.
Yeah. The next room that we had was called our power-up room. Basically, it was working on adding our addition skills and also number recognition, because in this room, you had to be able to put two numbers together, and for some of our kindergartners, that's not possible right now, so we had to be able to have our teachers that were in there helping out be able to differentiate down and say, well, this is just number recognition for you. Can you bounce a ball into a cup and tell me what that number is? Or can you bounce a ball into a cup and tell me what the two numbers add up together? And then they also built fact families, and they're just building that understanding under 10 and under 20. Sorry, it's really slow transition here. Just more examples from those rooms.
It looks like it was really well attended.
We had over 100 people come. We didn't push for. It was a soft launch. We're gonna go fast because we were a little bit nervous and we hadn't done it yet for math, and so we thought, well, we'll just put it out in our newsletters and on our reader board and things. And in the spring, we're gonna probably advertise it a little bit more and do a few different things with that. So we also had some dance mats. Basically, there was a slideshow that ran through a bunch of stuff with numbers, and sometimes it was just the number, sometimes it was the number word, sometimes it was like fingers, 5 and 4. Those just building that concept of number sense. And they got to dance and groove, and that was probably our most popular room.
Yeah, they had to find the number and dance at the same time, and they thought that was really cool.
God bless our counselor, Libby Frost. She was bumping the whole night. So this is just an example of what it kind of looked like on the slideshow for the kids. This is what they saw. This is what they had to find on their number mat and stomp it out. So just a couple different examples. Come on, it's that transition here.
This was our instant replay room. What was so cool about this is we really wanted parents to be able to take some things home. So we wanted that idea that math can be really fun and really exciting at home as a family activity. And so we gave them a take-home packet and some tools and ideas for things that they could enjoy with their kids at home. So we're trying to build that confidence. A lot of parents don't feel comfortable with the math. And so this was a great way to say, here, look, we're gonna play and do these things, and then you can take these things home and do them with your kids.
We also did some estimation in the room, like we did it with physical movement, where they had to jump off of a number line and see how far they could jump. We did grabbing pom-poms, how many do you think are in your hand, now count them, so they're working on counting skills as well. We did give away 2 Lego sets to anybody who made an estimate in the estimation room, and to get the kids more excited and things like that. I think that was it for the rooms. We also had some stuff up in the hallway to get our parents involved. So there were some Think Math stations. Joni, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. One of our biggest concerns is that the parents might not build that conversation with their kids like we want them to at Math Night. And so we put up a lot of questions and graphs and different things that they could discuss with their kids and answer together on the walls. And so the kids got to write the answers that the parents had to help them with it a little bit. So just get involved in the discussion.
And our Math Night would not have been possible without our families or our volunteers. Like Joni and I planned a lot of it, but if we hadn't had the people, our teachers come in and help us out, we couldn't have done it. I mean, we over 100 people, that's a lot of people. To be able to support that. And so in the spring, we're actually going to host another one at Cherry Valley, and we hope that we can help avoid the summer slump, and we're going to try and put together some packets that are actual take-home things of like dice and cards and things that our families can have as tools and build capacity and feel like they can do it. Basically, it's going to be our instant replay room times 10. So that's kind of our plan. It was a pretty fun night, and we're hoping we have a bigger turnout at the next one now that we're feeling a little more comfortable with the whole setup. So that's it.
That's fantastic.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
How do I?
Trustees, do you have any questions or comments for the
You guys
presenters?
have one up now? Great.
I don't know if you see here.
I don't know. I think they're gonna unplug that one.
Yeah, let's see if we can plug, do you mind, no? Are you the PC or? Okay. I'll burst
This one?
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll introduce.
So are we transitioning
Do you have HDMI on this one?
So we are now transitioning
Oh, wait,
to
HDMI.
number 5 on the agenda,
Yes, this
Special
one here.
Olympics presentation by Chris Kelly.
Put this on, stuck in.
While they're getting it together, trustees, I think that, well, when I looked at the agenda, it was fairly short. So I asked two different, there's so many great things going on there, different, put in here. And I think it's very important to look at the activities going on about parent involvement, which we had over 100 there. The other one was in my superintendent report, but the Heritage Night at Linderman, as we heard already, really well done.
Oh, yes, I do.
I still do enough that people don't know who I am when I'm not wearing a tie, and so I'm able to walk through the halls and listen. That was very good. And the amount of the parents and the grandparents that were making comments about how fortunate they were to express who they were, what they did, what their heritage was all about to their kids, uninhibited, was very, very impressive. And so, nice job to Lincoln as well. That'll be part of my superintendent report. Did a nice job.
Hey Rex, do you know if there's any speakers on this?
In the hole.
Oh, through the projector, okay.
Can I just make a comment on that? I just wanted to say, I had a grandmother come into my classroom today, and she mentioned that her granddaughter did a poster on an uncle that passed away, and it was put on the journal front page, and that meant a lot to that grandmother. So it was pretty cool that this story was all out and shared.
What do you have on that one? Do you have a thumb drive we can put it on there?
I didn't bring them with me. I could borrow the.
Might have to go without. Here, let me.
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes. Probably still got a little bit of paper or something stuck in there.
What? Oh, we can still come out.
You guys all ready? We'll stop doing this.
We're ready. Ready as it's gonna get.
Okay, all right, you have our attention.
It's gonna start with April.
Oh, you're starting with me. Hello! I was like, what are we? So I'm April Charlo. I work for Special Olympics Montana. I am the Tribal Outreach Director. And so my job is to help schools, to help onboard schools to become Unified Champion schools. The flyer that I handed out to you has the components of which schools, when they reach all three components, they become what we call a Unified Champion school. And so the goal for Unified Champion schools are to provide opportunities to students with intellectual disabilities and students without, an opportunity to compete together, to be on leadership, to be given leadership opportunities together, and as well as doing planning whole school engagement. So that this is a great way to involve students with intellectual disabilities and getting them to build relationships, break down those barriers, and build relationships with students without intellectual disabilities. This is also a great opportunity for teachers who are not in the SPED classroom to have that interaction as well and to be involved. And so with a Unified Champion school, you not only have the SPED people, but you also, it requires to have a collaboration with non-SPED teachers as well to really make this come full circle. And so when schools sign a pledge, there's a pledge. I should have brought a sample of the pledge. On the pledge, when the schools decide they are going to take that leap to becoming a Unified Champion school, The pledge has the school leadership, so the administration maybe, as well as the school, for example, Mel and Chris are the teachers that have signed the pledge saying we're going to make sure that this goes forward. You also need a mainstream classroom teacher, as well as a student with an intellectual disability, as well as a student without. So this is all a collaborated effort, and you also get all of that awesome interaction and leadership opportunity to it as well. So I'm not sure how long. Are you timing me?
No.
I'm like trying to speed through this because I really want you to.
I figure Rex would like raise a finger if we talk too long.
Okay, so that's kind of what that looks like. I just want to, is there any questions that are popping out to you right away? Because I didn't want to like finish what I was saying and then have a looming question and run out of time.
So if you're not sure, SPED is an acronym for special ed, special education. So what happened before was that athletes just went and participated in their own individual sports. Sorry, you can't see me because I'm short. And so now we're involving in teams where we're taking a regular education peer and they are competing with an athlete. And so we're bringing more inclusion amongst the school. And then we were extremely honored in that Special Olympics of Montana asked if we'd be part of a video. We are the only school on the reservation right now that has Special Olympics that's up and running. There's a couple other schools that are in the process of getting them, but we have been doing it. So this is a video that they did to start promoting Special Olympics and Unified. And so we have 3 regular education peers that are involved in this and a special education athlete, and then components of our athletes throughout. So it's 4 minutes.
Before the Special Olympics, I was just a little they didn't show me that I belonged and, that everything was going to be right, so now that I have everything I need, I can do anything. When life brings you down, never give up. If you give up, life will give up on you. So always remember, I will always love you. You guys changed my life, and you guys are my friends, and you guys gave me a room and a new room that I never thought was possible. To be able to show up with skills and talents. I'll be so happy and proud. I'm proud of my members from there. That's my family because I didn't have a family before, really. So I got adopted by a family that was volunteers for Special Olympics. Special Olympics changes lives. You can see my friends, and you also get to be on the team that accepts you. My life was like the Special Olympics is I didn't have very many friends, and I didn't socialize a lot. And when I became a big star, I was scared that my life was just getting sick. But when I met Brian, my coach, she turned my life around and introduced me to Special Olympics. It's for athletes of all abilities, not just higher abilities, all abilities. We're capable of much more than people think. We can do things just like everybody else. And no matter what ability we are, we try our best. I got involved in Special Olympics because I feel like people with disabilities should feel the same as everybody else, and just like doing that one. Special Olympics helps me gain friendships just by getting out there and meeting people. Supporting Special Olympics really as a student makes me feel kind of a part of something bigger than just going to class and like not having real impact on anyone around me. I've had parents come to me in tears because it's the first time their kid is part of something that is a group, and it's not a group that is segregated to one section of the school. It's competitive, but at the same time it's really about being a member of a team and making sure that everybody feels involved in that team. You know, unfortunately we deal with the worst of society every day, and so to be involved in Special Olympics and to work on our lives
for balance in my life. We remember the troubles and tribulations you're faced with every day. You would never, ever know it. To create a community that is much more all-inclusive, tolerant, and welcoming, certainly it epitomizes why we do what we do for this wonderful organization. I think our involvement challenges others to get involved. We've changed lives with Special Olympics, no question about it. You haven't just changed the athletes' lives, you've changed the parents' lives and people around them. And so we have to do the right thing, whatever it might be. We're part of it. It is important for us all to be a part of something great. If there wasn't Special Olympics, my life wouldn't be the same. Because Special Olympics is a great thing that ever happened to me. Be a part of something great. Compete, volunteer, donate.
So the young man that started talking at first really struggled before Special Olympics. But so for people who don't know, Special Olympics, you can be in it from the time you are 8 years old, meeting the requirements, until you're 88. And I always say 88 because that's the year I graduated. So it has to be the best year ever. So it's something for when kids graduate from high school and they are not going on to a professional, whether it's a 2-year college or they get a full-time job. Parents are filling their lives 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why do they have to go to bed at 8? Why do they have to get up? Why do they have to shower? Why do they have to change their clothes? So it's really hard for parents when a subset of these students graduate. Special Olympics is year-round, so it gives them something that they have to practice bowling. And if there's anybody that does not think that we have a bajillion rules to follow, because we are under the Olympic field, there's 3 others under the Olympics: Paralympics, Special Olympics, and Junior Olympics. The rule book for swimming is 136 pages long. Bocce ball, I haven't printed it out because I fear the librarians are going to come guillotine me at some point, but they are all a binder full of rules that we have to teach the kids. They have to follow. If they don't follow, they're disqualified. So it is something you have. We work really hard with the students to be able to get everything done. So mine versus sitting here and sort of spewing all of my information about Special Olympics. I've been involved in Special Olympics. My daughter's 24 since she was 8. I've coached it. I've been involved in it as a parent. So I put together a slideshow. So for some students, it's just finding a way for making school enjoyable. We do tasks, meeting other athletes. It's making connections in the community, having fun and being silly. We have students in our room that help with grooming and car care and cooking. This was our bowling tournament, coming back from Special Olympics last year. Having administrators come. This was our team photo. This is a student that allows me into her world. Mine is making connections with junior high students so that when they come up to the high school, I know who they are. This one is allowing me, I'm going to pause for a second. That student was allowing me into his world for a brief moment of awesomeness. These are all the people that have come with us. We've had a majority of these students for 4 years. And so having a partner, I've never had a partner before. Last year, the fire department brought us home. We have past high school graduates that join our team. We had a water fight. This was honor roll. It's fuzzy, I'm sorry. Coming home from homecoming float building. Homecoming participation. We had a student nominated for homecoming. We had students riding on the floats. Being dorky, that's my role in my room, is to teach everybody how to be dorky. We had a semi-truck driver come do some explanations. We're cooking. This is a student who came to a dance who doesn't like loud music, but we got him for 20 minutes. A student being asked to a dance by another student. Being nominated and winning king. And dancing the night away. These are all of our partners, teams that we had for the ones that I was able to capture that we did at our bowling tournament last Wednesday. And these were our divisions. This was everybody that came to the bowling tournament. Tim Berg always brings his cool electronics. This was the one wheel that we all got to try out. This is another past student, the bus bringing us home. This is a student who other people help him get to basketball games and football games, along with Mr. Simpson. I knew it was upside down and I couldn't turn it around. Science experiments in my room. And then our senior day. So, I'm extremely lucky in that Polson has been great in supporting Special Olympics through all of it. Doing Unified to us is just getting the paperwork put in place. I mean, we already have students that are out in the hallways doing activities with the students, whether it's in spring sports assemblies, homecoming, honor roll, dances, cooking and serving in my classroom. I have 14 TAs that help throughout my whole day. 9 of them are seniors. It's going to be hard next year not having them. I've had the majority of those seniors for 4 years. So they know the students. I mean, they come take them out of my class and go do activities. So we're starting a recruitment, and I've talked with Mr. Wilson because I have to have more students. So far, I've gotten 12 signed up for different activities. But if you want to see the impact of what this makes, at our local event in April, we took 18 athletes. Those 18 athletes brought home 66 ribbons. At our state, we took one junior high student because he had made massive gains. He went from not swimming to swimming 25 meters unassisted without a life jacket from January to April. So we took 13 athletes. They came home with 44 medals and ribbons. Mr. Wilson and I chatted with this at the bowling alley. If you don't think these are the things that are important to these kids 20 years from now, they're going to be wearing them. They're going to be wearing these shirts. They're going to be buying more because they are so connected to being part of a team and being an athlete. So my tagline to finish, I was trying to come up with one. So I said, Special Olympics give the athletes equal standing amongst the other school athletes to allow for a start of a conversation. Unified allows the athletes to compete together for a lifelong heart memory that will never be erased. I get so emotional about Special Olympics. Told myself I wasn't going to cry. Because I have a child with a disability who will be involved in it till she passes away. It is the one constant in their life. It is the one thing that gives them standing when they're 20, when they're 30, when they're 70. I worked last spring. I helped with the swimming. I had 2 7-year-old women who had never competed in Special Olympics. Somebody went to a nursing home, signed them up. One gal cried the entire way down the length of the pool and sobbed all the way back because it was the one time she had accomplished something she never thought she'd be able to do. So, you're getting athletes from all different ages. Stop down. I used to get more crying.
So at the middle school, we currently have 8 athletes, special ed athletes, and as of today, 11 general ed peers who have signed up to join forces with us. During the school day, we do what we call random acts of kindness. We have little notes that have respect across the top, and the special ed students go through a book of quotes, and we pick out a positive quote that we think might be uplifting to someone, and then we go and just put them on a random person's locker just throughout the day. We also have been helping out with smoothie sales on Tuesdays. We have a leadership team that sells smoothies to the students, and we've been going in and helping prepare the smoothies and sell them. We've had our peers coming into our classrooms helping with cooking skills and social activity skills to help our students understand the different personalities that are in the world and different kitchen safety and how to function. They've also helped with our academics. In the community, we've joined up with the leadership team again. We've gone out and raked leaves for residents in the community who could not get out of their homes to do it themselves. We are also going to be going to the assisted living facility on the 23rd and delivering stuffed animals that we're asking for donations for, and just spending about 30 to 45 minutes just visiting with the residents. And then as far as our sports goes, 3 years ago, the middle school only participated in bowling. Now we are participating in bowling, swimming, Track and field, this year we're going to be joining up and doing bocce ball, and hopefully by this time next year we'll also be doing Winter Olympics with snowshoeing.
Or maybe February.
Or maybe February. Maybe February. So that's where the middle school is.
So just Rex has been involved with this up here, and so has all the high school. But the involvement of the administration that allows this to happen is amazing. But what we put on the table in front of you is the outfits that the athletes get to wear. And if you don't know Dolphinstein, he took his home the first year to borrow it, and he never took it off. And he now owns that one, and we just erased those numbers off. And his mother wrote, "You're never getting it back." And he wears it married, but we wouldn't be able to have any of this if we didn't have buy-in from the school and administration.
I'll be the first to thank you for your involvement, what you do. Like I said, you're affecting lives for many, many years. So we appreciate what you do very much. I would say that I've been in 3 states and a lot of different high schools. Sophie probably could attest to this, is that how we connect, how we treat each other, how our general ed versus our special ed and how they take care of each other, unprecedented. Absolutely probably the coolest thing I've ever been part of. It's a great thing.
Well, and I have said before, my students never leave my room. And I now track what the students are wearing when I see them first thing, because I never find them again. So I always memorize what they're wearing, because if I go in the hallway, they're not stuck off to the side. I have to search for them. And that just doesn't happen in high schools.
Yeah.
I remember it was either last year or 2 years ago, and we had an assembly, and all of our athletes came back with their medals, and my entire student body gave them a standing ovation, and that was one of the coolest moments. It was one of my proudest moments of being at Wilson.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So you're in the process of becoming a unified champion school, and so when ETA?
Well, so I'll help while you gather some thoughts on that. So they have to meet the 3 components, and like Rex was just saying, approaching Polson has been one of it's a no-brainer because they're doing so many things already. And so to transfer some of the leadership things over, like what Mel said of the respect, awesome, kind things that they're doing, they put respect, and that's a Special Olympics brand. And so they put that on it, and it just has to have a Special Olympics component to it, and they meet that leadership requirement. And so Polson High School, the spring, when we approached the new assistant principal, Jay, we approached Jay and approached the idea of having the Special Olympics team join their peers who were going to state on the field for the spring for the spring rally. He was like, yeah, and so that met that whole school and plus leadership component. They only have to meet one component. Polson's going to blow it out of the water. They're going to exceed what becomes a unified champion school. They're going to have their banner, within minutes, basically is kind of, Polson's awesome. You guys really are helping, managing a really awesome school district from my lens. So, yeah.
Next board meeting.
Wow.
How are you doing?
Can we cover on some budget items?
Sure.
Things done.
We're just down to the minuteness of having it all official.
And I also wanted to just acknowledge too that there will be a day when Tim School is going to be standing up here doing. I just went and had a conversation with him. Awesome principal, by the way. Not saying anything about anyone else, but I'm very impressed with this guy. And he was like, "It's a no-brainer." And so, just so you know, just spoiler alert, Linderman's on the list.
Well, definitely keep us informed. Did you have something?
I just had an thought. Is there any way that you could think about getting Letterman jackets for these Olympics?
All that comes down to, budget. So we have in the past, but it just depends on what so in the previous past, it was all the school budget through the school. So Unified is also bringing in a grant component where we can look into that for the athletes and
I
do.
just remember one McLean, what was McLean's last name?
Birmingham.
Yeah, somebody purchased a Letterman jacket for him. He wore that for years and years. Yes. Still wear them. When you run out all these and stuff, you know.
And Mel and I are going to be doing a respect rally.
I am so sorry, and we could
No,
probably
it's
talk
fine.
about how wonderful this is all evening long, but we've got some other things on the business side and some other folks to present. But I do want to thank you all. Thank you all for all the great hard work you do. Thank you. Okay. Okay, number 6, Greater Polson Community Foundation, Mr. Ryan Gage. Yeah.
So back.
We're behind Jay. I was like, where is he?
I'm hiding. So one small correction, we're not with the Greater Polson Community Foundation, but we're with the Polson Scholarship and Education Foundation, which formerly was Polson Dollars for Scholars. So we changed our name, we've added the foundation component to it. And one of our other board members here as well, Pat DeVries, and I have worked closely with a couple of the other board members to start a grant program for the teachers here. We've worked with Rex to get this going, and our goal was to have some presentations tonight of some grants. So we are going to do that, but just to give you a little bit of background, we did receive some funding. We received $15,000 to start this program. That being said, it's going to be a short-lived program unless we can go out and find funding for the program to move forward as well. So the funding that we received, they have asked us to push all out the door in 1 year. So we've got about $15,000 to award to teachers through grants, and we've received some applications so far. We appreciate the teachers that put applications together on such short notice, because I think they've only been able to do that for about a week and a half, but we have received some of those, and we'll continue to fund applications until we run out of money.
Just curious, Ryan,
Yep.
that 15K, can you disclose where that original money came from?
No.
Okay. I'm just thinking sustainability.
Yep. Agreed. So we have put fillers out to other organizations. We do believe that eventually there is going to be a TV component to this too, presenting through a news organization, TV spots on what these grants are, what they're being used for, what teachers are being awarded these. And so our goal is that to be coming. We believe we have located one of the stations that's going to actually cover that. So that will be coming in the future. But the exciting news is we're here to award $2,000 worth of money tonight to one teacher and to a group of teachers. So a group of 4th grade teachers, 2 of which are here, Ms. Ayers and Ms. Larson. They submitted an application for science. So our understanding is each teacher covers a different area of science, and we'll be able to fund hands-on projects for students to participate in all the different areas of science, whether that's earth science, life science, whatever that may be. And so I don't know how many teachers are involved there, but
There's
5 teachers.
5 teachers. We're doing all kinds of hands-on science experiments, kind of like a science Olympiad.
Yeah. So the application, one thing that's really cool about this application, it affects over 120 students. So we thought that was pretty impressive to be able to affect not just one particular classroom, but a whole grade level of classes. So thank you for your application. The second one is a 6th grade teacher. Is this Tammy right here? So again, this is going to affect a grade level. Over 120 students will be affected based on what the application said. And when we got this one, we were really excited. Me and Pat, we even researched. Okay, we went out on the computer so we could. I almost had to buy them for my kids for Christmas. But they're drones that they'll be able to do science experiments with. And so it sounds like we're going to be buying 4 drones to be able to do science experiments with. There was all sorts of stuff in the grant, but air quality and all sorts of stuff that you'd be able to fly up and take pictures and do all sorts of different things. So 2 really cool grant applications. We're excited to be able to fund these. Like I say, we're hoping to be able to we need to be able to push the money out throughout the school year. So keep the applications coming, tell the teachers keep them coming in, and we'll have more to award in the future. So I was told to hand the check over to here. So you'll be able to just work through the district office for all of that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ryan, is there anything that we as the board can do to help support this process, or anything, information, anything you need from us?
Donate money to the foundation. I mean, that's what we're looking for right now as far as this program is continued funding. So our goal with this program is to be able to have future funding a year ahead, right? And we're looking to partner with somebody or a couple of somebodies. So one of the ways that it's done in another area that I know of is they have businesses in the community that actually donate $250 a month to it. And they're able to fund grants every month throughout the school year for it. We're still talking about how we're gonna accomplish that, but our goal is to have a year's worth of funding a year ahead of time every year to keep this sustainable. So if you know of anybody that's looking for opportunities like that.
Your end is coming up, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions, trustees? Well, teachers, congratulations. Oh,
Thank you, Ryan.
To the teachers that saw the opportunity and jumped on it, fantastic job.
Yes, congratulations, teachers.
Also want to thank Pat, also for being part of this, so appreciate your efforts. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. We'll be in contact. Okay. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Moving right along, number 7, the superintendent's report. Who else?
The last 3 presentations.
Okay, there you go.
They quickly, and then there's mine. So it is important to get things that are going well in our district in front of us to see what's happening. Ryan and Pat diversified a little bit out of their comfort zone where they used to give money to students or seniors for scholarships, but they also saw the need for teachers as well, that innovative thinking. So I'm glad that they just saw the need to also fund staff members. We had several things going on here in the district that I'll quickly talk about. The annual audit through our business department took place last week. They were here Monday through Thursday afternoon. It went very well, and I know Pamela's going to talk about this in her budget update, but they wanted us to pass along, they wanted me to pass along to the board that it was very well received, that the business offices, they found a couple of minor things that need to be addressed, but from where we were last year, and I think that was from the newness of having Pamela coming in and learning the system, bringing it from Ronan to where we're at now, or light years ahead. So they wanted me to make sure that you understood that her office is doing very well in what they found, and they see a lot of accounting, and so they were pleasantly surprised and pleased with where we're at. I attended the Northwest Superintendent's meeting in Kalispell last week, and really legislation, Tim, they're gearing up for that just through the nature of the leadership hierarchy through the federal level and state level that this spring's going to be a big year for us in legislation. And that's coming up, but really the conversation that's around the table at this point is transitioning out of No Child Left Behind into ESSA and what that's going to look like. I included in your green packet, there's an accountability piece to No Child Left Behind, and one of that was heavily laden on test scores. Because if we had great test scores, therefore we're producing great kids. That was the mentality. I will tell you that the SAM organization, the school leaders in Montana, they're liking the ESA component, and it's only in a draft form. But there are 5 different components to accountability, all of which won't take place next year. They're going to give us a year reprieve. And then those 5 bullets are the pieces. It should be in your left-hand side back page, very last one. And those 5 components, the very last one will potentially carry the most weight. And that is through innovation, your school plan, your school culture. They haven't assigned the weights to it yet, so it could be, we're pushing for 35 to 50% of the accountability to come out of that one component, versus the test scores, the SAT, or the ACT at the 11th grade in high school, and then this Smarter Balance through 3 through 8 could be anywhere from 15 to 20%. So you can see the shift from accountability test scores to school culture and the climate in your 5-year plan. And so I think that we're going to see some innovative, creative thinking through ESSA. Again, that's draft form. Submitted some responses back to OPI. I will say the OPI had it nailed. They are like, this is the way it's going to be. The SAM organization through Montana school leaders, they said, wait, we're not ready. It's not ready. And they backed up, which is unheard of. OPI said, we'll give you another time to talk. And so they backed it up another month and a half, and then heard what we had to say and implemented this new draft, which is pretty incredible. OPI usually doesn't back up. That's come down, and then per our conversation at Black Mountain is that we discussed the communications where you have a pre-board meeting discussion and what you can, what we talk about here, and then your post-meeting conversations. But what came up with us is, what if you have questions? And what does that look like prior to even getting to this meeting? When you read your board package, you have something. I said we'd have a quick reference guide or a quick contact list. That's in your packet too. So if you want to take a picture of it or you want to hold on to it. I met with the leadership team last week or 2 weeks ago, and we talked about what that looks like. Is that you will ask them questions, and it's not that you're trying to put them on the spot. It's really your time to ask a question. But I gave them the authority to say, yeah, we really don't know that answer yet, but I'm going to get back to you as soon as I can. And so I like that where we grounded someone together, where there were perceptions that you're putting me on the spot versus I'm trying to figure out what's going on. You don't know the answer. How can you not know the answer in your building? And there's a lot of that going on because there's so many things going on. And so there's a quick reference guide. Everyone's good about an email, a phone call, a text, whatever it is that you want. Let me know you're giving a call, and go ahead. We welcome that. So I think, I know I want to increase communication between the two. Okay. And we're all good with that. Okay. And I already said it, Leonard family, the Heritage Night was outstanding, Tim. You guys did a nice job. There were a lot of good things going on. I sat in Tammy's class. I was walking through classrooms last week, and I ended up teaching class about 35 minutes on mine, and in Tammy's science class. So good things. And then the last thing is the My Voice survey. Per the color wars and everything that took place, and I said publicly that first day that took place, that I want to know what the kids think. I'm not going to knee-jerk reaction and say we're going to bring a curriculum to make everybody better and we don't even know what it looks like yet. And so My Voice is a really big piece to that. But what do our students think? What do our staff members think? And so high school's done. They've already compiled their information. They're looking at how they're going to address it with the staff. Linderman, I think, just told me you guys were about 7th grade D, maybe 8th grade. I bet it's even a little further now. Maybe completion date coming up soon, and I know that Linderman has already begun the discussions on how to initiate it, as Cherry Valley is looking at how their staff is going to look at it. So across the district, the My Voice survey is coming up, so that data point will be useful for us to move forward after Jan 1.
I want to quickly say thank you to all the administrators. Whether you're part of the high school or not, I know the entire district was kind of really shaken up by that incident that kind of started as part of the homecoming issue. And I am just so proud to be a part of this district because we didn't try to bury it. We recognized it for what it was, realized it's a bigger issue in the community. It's not just our students, but that our students are the ones that we need to look out for. And the fact that we're addressing this issue, we know it's complicated, and that we're moving forward with it. And I know it's not an easy conversation to have, especially in the current political environment, and I'm just so pleased to be working with you guys and everything that you guys are doing. I know it's not easy, so thank you. I really appreciate it. Any further questions for Rex? Okay, great. Board committee updates. First one, facilities committee. Trustees Anderson and Orion.
Okay, I'll take this one. She missed it again, but that's all right.
That's why we have two.
Couple things, well, more than a couple things, I'll try to keep it short. We actually did meet with Paradigm. He came up and we walked the roof at middle school. To be honest, it's not quite as bad as I envisioned. There's no trees growing on it, which is a good thing. But yes, it does need some work, and there's a couple areas, the library especially. I'm a little baffled being from the construction world myself, why it was designed that way. But yeah, it's a pool. So I don't know why the drainage is terrible up there. So they're gonna get back to us as far as real soon, hopefully, where we want to start this next summer and that. Now to the facilities meeting. It was actually quite lengthy. Pam was there. But we went through our list. There was a couple small items that got done. The wheelchair access over at Cherry Valley out to the playground. They got that taken care of, Dan and his crew. Also the computer system for the security and boilers over here at Adam and Seth got that taken care of for him, so that's up and running. One thing that Dan did bring up, which hasn't been done in a long time, come to find out, having the fire department, fire chiefs come in and do inspections. We did that. They came over to the Linderman and just did a walkthrough, safety issues, you know, and they didn't see too much wrong, but there was one area, there's an electrical panel next to a washing machine, which is not a good thing.
It's awesome.
So,
It's a safety experiment.
oh my gosh. But Dan's gonna start doing that at all the schools. He wants them to come in and just do a check, you know, and see what we can do to improve our safety. And on that note, we did have a presentation from Harry Sheff. He's Montana School, yeah, he's OPI. Yeah, he's from the OPI. He's our risk management associate for our region here. Basically, why he came is that there was a little bit of concern. Our workman's comp is ticking up in our district compared to we've always been pretty low comparatively, from what I understand. But just general injuries that he went over was slips, trips, falls. You know, back injuries, things like that. And there's ways that we can mitigate that and do a better job within our district.
Did we talk about this summer specifically regarding some of those insurance issues and maybe providing some additional training during orientation for, you know, better ways for employees to do some of those things to prevent those injuries?
Yep, that was brought up earlier. He mentioned safety committees, which from what I understand, Dan said that apparently there is one, but.
District-wide?
Yeah. He'd like to see it more towards each school as well, you know, and have, you know, your cooks, your janitors, your teachers, have somebody representative from each group. Hey, what's our issues here? What do we need to do to make it safer for everybody in the environment? One thing that they're willing to do is they're willing to pay half the cost up to $1,000, so they'll pay $500 for ice trackers. Your shoes.
Oh.
They're about $30 a pair for anybody who has to go out and recess, or it's really slick. That's one issue that they can help mitigate. Walk-off mats. They'll pay half the cost up to 6 of those, and they're about $130. So it might be something, and I know Pam's going to look into it. She said she would. Just general safety, especially this time of year with all the ice and snow and everything. So it's safer for everybody. But he had just a little report on that. and I know that'll be followed up on. Then we had another presentation from our IT guys, Seth and Adam. Infrastructure upgrades for all of our schools, our MDFs, and they had a slideshow of where some of our systems are located in the schools, and I was a little, wow, yeah. Easily accessible to students in some areas. And if you've seen these boxes, which you know what I'm talking about, all the wires that are running in there, all they have to do is yank those, and it takes a while to get them put back in the right place. Plugs have been unplugged, because they plug into an outlet, and the outlet's right there. So we pull the plug, and they're down. So they were looking at different areas in the schools to where they could set these up and do it in a type of a network where we can get the whole district network together. They're gonna come up with some costing on this. This is actually on our list of things to look at, so.
Because we did that big IT audit, that report, and I know Carl kind of oversaw that, and we got that, oh gosh, was it 6 months ago or so? Is that consistent with that report, or is this in above and beyond?
It's actually above and beyond that. It's actually adding extra wiring, upgraded wiring within the systems themselves. They had maps of where they'd like to put the IDFs and all that compared to where they are now to make it more efficient. So yeah, there's a good chance now, because a lot of these things were not available through the E-rate system before, which is a huge cost savings for us as a district. Now they are. So that's why they were bringing it forward now, that a lot of the stuff they're now including in that. So it might be something we want to look at that's going to be a benefit. For everything. So.
We'll definitely keep us.
Yeah, they're going to keep us informed and go from there. I think that's about it.
Any follow-up questions for Trustee Anderson?
Thank you, Emily. I appreciate it. Okay, policy committee, Trustee DeWee.
Well, I don't know if Shannon made it, I didn't make it.
She did.
Okay.
Yeah. So there were three, you don't want me to answer, there was three policies. There's three policies, and they're coming forward. And all of those were initiated through new state law. So everything come through was initiated by state. And you had a chance to see those in your packet. So there's just three.
And we're not taking action on those today, are we?
They are in.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we are. I was thinking of
Yep.
the other issue.
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to be addressing those later in business, so we can discuss those. Other than that, any questions for the policy committee? Okay. Budget committee, we'll talk, Pamela, when we do your report, we'll just talk about that. We haven't had any other budget committees since we all met about 6 weeks ago. Negotiations committee, obviously we're on hiatus until negotiations open up next year, so that's all good. Moving along, Class A caucus committee, Tim, I'm assuming you haven't.
Well, we know who the players are now,
Right.
so it should be an interesting time, and I look forward to it.
Your reports are going to start getting more and more interesting as we go forward. And the transportation committee hasn't done it. And the superintendent evaluation committee.
I believe that the survey is complete. With Carl being out for a little while, we won't get that for a little bit, but hopefully we'll get that soon. And then the committee will meet as soon as we have that. And then in January, we will meet as a group, I believe, and kind of start that process. So I was kind of wondering, I know we moved the January 9th board meeting to the following week just because that's the first day back at school, but would it be possible to start then, since then that way we kind of get rolling, or do you guys have an opinion? I kind of wanted to set a date because everybody's schedules are so busy.
Just for clarification, this would be the special board meeting specifically to do Rex's evaluation. So we could set that now because
I already know what my brain was thinking.
the surveys are done.
So how much time do you think that will take?
I think that once the committee goes over the survey, I think that we will be ready by January 9th, because that's a Monday, and it was kind of the day we were thinking anyway of being here, but then we moved it. I just didn't know how y'all felt about that. And then that way it would give us, I think it's just, what last one is collage? So I'm thinking like
So January 9th.
January 9th, does that work for everybody? If everybody's here, I was just curious like how your schedule is.
So far, yeah.
Is 5:30 too late, or is 5:30 good enough? Good. Very good. Okay, so can we try that? Okay, thank you. For being so quick. Do you want that something? No, go ahead.
Okay, so also in your, just for reference, in your green folders on the left-hand side, again, is a copy of that, that evaluation criteria and worksheet. Just a reminder, this is a tool for you. It connects back specifically to the job description items in the, in our policies. And so this is the opportunity for you as a trustee, based on your experience with rec so far, to kind of go through, take notes. It's not something that, we're going to totally collate and collect from you and review. It'll just be the basis for your discussion when we have that meeting. So I encourage you all to at least look through that, because again, those are the job description items. But I don't want you to feel like you have to go home and type out this massive answer to each and every question, because honestly, we won't all have that experience. So it's just a guideline, but it's there for you as a support. And before that, you'll also get a copy of those survey results.
Oh, yeah, we'll get a summary of the survey. And so if you have any questions, please contact one of us, or if you have any questions or comments from Mr. Welts, get a hold of him, and so that we're all ready to go on that.
And Mr. Welts, you'll be, as part of that process during that evaluation, you'll provide us with some statistics and kind of your, presentation on those things, and then we'll go over and discuss it. And, all right.
And I'm assuming that is a closed meeting because we're discussing personal?
Yeah, we'll open it up and we'll go, okay, now, because we're talking about personal items, we're going to go into executive session.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
And then we'll come back out and let you know how it all went. Okay, all right. If there are no other questions about that, great. Number 9, Montana High School Association update. Mr. Krantz. Thank you for your patience.
Well, he pulls together here. The reason why I asked Mr. Krantz to come in and update us, that this is one of those sidewalk conversations like, oh, did you know Libby's back in the conference, or Ronan's coming back in, or Frenchtown's moving down. It's one of those that it doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest in it, but there is a lot of interest in it, especially with our neighbors, Ronan, coming back into the conference. And so I wanted to give you guys enough information that if you heard at the grocery store, you knew what was going on. And there's some significant pieces to travel that's been shied away from, especially out of the Whitefish area, that will affect us as well.
So with their realignment, I kind of ran off some copies and stuff on what the MHSA sent me for their realignment. And that's kind of how it works. They realign everybody, and then we have to set the schedules from there to make sure that we match up with how many games we need and everything. And they also this time did some realignment with, as far as the numbers are concerned, the enrollment ranges. You can see where it had the current enrollment ranges, and that's something you always hear about. Okay, why are they Class A? Why are they Class B? Well, you can't have that one because I marked on, but you can't have that. And so you can see they changed the AA from 826 people to 779 students to jump the classifications and stuff, and it affected actually 4 different schools, Ronan being one of them, because Ronan had actually petitioned to stay down into the Class B for another year, and the MHSA denied the request. And so they will be in our conference next year, along with Libby, who is coming back in, who requested to go back up to Class A, and Browning, who will be moved over into the Northwest A. And so I did, it's just the football realignment, but you can see on that 3rd page where it shows where the Class A football alignment is, with 22 schools in it.
There's 29 schools in the Class B. There's 44 schools in the 8-man football alignment and 34 in the 6-man football alignment that I didn't think would ever go. But man, you remember when they had, I don't know, 8, 10 teams, and now they're up to a lot of teams in that 6-man alignment. So it's constantly going to be on the ship. This is a 2-year alignment, and so now we'll go into our scheduling meetings and stuff in January and see if we can hash out who goes where, when, and how the tournaments. And it looks like everything's going to be affected a little bit. So we'll have to go in with some proposals on how we want to, and if we want to run some district tournaments in the basketball, the football playoffs will change just a little bit. So everything is constantly on the change, and this is the first thing that has to happen is get everybody aligned to where they're going to be in conference-wise. And it was pretty significant when changing, I believe, the student enrollment on it, because we're looking again at some possibilities in 2 years with Belgrade going up and maybe Eureka coming in, and I just don't see it stopping, you know. And you look at even that 8-man and the 6-man, boy, they keep including teams. Pretty soon it's going to have about 5 names to each team as you go down through it with Hobson, Moore, Judith Gap, as these teams, especially in the East, losing population and trying to still keep those activities and stuff. So that's where it's at for the next 2 years now. And
so what is this, anytime, what's the travel to Browning? What's that gonna look like?
for what?
Traveling to Browning.
How long does it take us to get to Browning?
I guess I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm not a big fan of putting our kids on a bus to Browning. And so, I have a relative.
Yeah, and
we went by train.
We did.
Yeah, so I guess what does it look like? Is it, I mean, how, are we going there obviously once or twice? Or?
They'll be in our conference, so we will be traveling home and away games. And then, you know, every other year going there in football. And so we will have to make some travel over the top, there's no doubt about it. And poor old Browning, you know, I think the Central now is going, you don't have to go to Browning for a while.
Yeah.
You know, and,
it's not that I don't want the kids to play Browning, I think it's
the road.
It's the road, and I think that we're from an era that's a little bit
yes.
Sensitive still. I will say that Whitefish elected, they said that they would finally put their kids on that road, that they're willing to do that, and so that's a big step for them because of how close it was for them too.
Right. So if a parent elects to not send their child, is there a consequence for that?
That's a coach's decision to start.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I would think anytime you felt your child was in danger of something, I don't know why anybody would be opposed to saying, you know.
Right.
But
we go to Havre.
Yeah, we do. People go over the top all the time and stuff, and it's, you know, I hope that we could use good judgment on the weather conditions and everything else that are imposed on us. But you know, it's maybe time to start looking at going over the top again. You know, that the bus wreck was dang sure a bad situation, but.
We appreciate you putting this on the agenda and bringing it to us. It's important that we know what that new alignment looks like. So we can answer those questions, get those to you with parents who might be concerned. But
and I'll know after January.
Yeah.
How many trips we will be taking over and when, and you know. There will still be a regional schedule. They'll still have some teams over there that will travel to Browning from the Central and everything else with. But they travel over the top of that a lot coming to us too.
Yeah.
The last thing in that we didn't mention yet is that we mentioned that Libby and Browning's coming in, but in Ronan, Frenchtown will be headed down south. So they'll be reeling back down into Bitterroot.
So that'll put 6 and 6 again. And thus the reason for going to some kind of a district tournament schedule with volleyball and with basketball. Because it's just so many teams involved with it now. But I'll know more about that after January.
Well, thank you. Any questions, trustees?
Again, I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 10, budget report. Ms. Clary.
Okay, so I submitted the list of the higher unusual expenses, nothing really outside of our normal things. I just went over it again today thinking, okay, what is it that jumps out at me, and it's all pretty normal for this time of year. Our expenditures versus our budget at this time of year, we are still running a little lower with both our elementary and our high school than we were at this time last year. So that's a good thing. In November, we did start receiving some building reserve monies, which is the good thing. We were delayed a year. We have received to date, as of October and November, almost 50% of the elementary for the year, and about 47% of the high school allotment for the year. So the rest of that will come in over the months until June, and then we'll have our full year allotment, which I'll remind you is $245,000 for the elementary and $182,000 for the high school. So that's good news. The taxes received as of this time last year are actually at the same or even higher than what we received last year. So a big relief after the little scare of being delayed, or maybe even folks protesting. So as of right now, it looks real good. Rex touched on the fact that we had the auditors in the house. They were here for 4 solid days, and although it seemed to go really smooth, it was very much jumping at their every demand and wanting to know so that they could get out of here. And it was good because the snow came the next week, so they were probably glad with coming in and out of our back door that there was no snow. A couple minor things, like he said. One thing that is going to ring a bell with you is the item with the impact aid application from last year with the high school students that the federal folks denied us on, disqualified us on for the attendance piece. That he did have to write up as a finding again because it's a federal deal. And I did ask him if there was anything that I could have changed, if I could have resubmitted it or aligned our application with what they approved. And he said our numbers were what they should be. This was just because the federal findings. So other than that, and some receipts that may not have been there, we have an OPEB report. It is a retirement actual evaluation that we're mandated to do and mandated to pay the expense of at $7,000 every 3 years is now due. And so I solicited a couple of businesses for proposals, and Bickmore is the company that we went with the last time 3 years ago, and I asked Northwest Actuaries if they could put in a bid, and it was very close to Bickmore. So since Bickmore was our history with us, it seemed, if they were close, that we should just go with them. And they told us we could have that by the end of January, which was good news to Matt, our auditors, that we could get it completed by then, because that's the last piece we would need before wrapping up the final piece on the audit, which will be 2 months earlier than when he finished it last year. So then that's the only thing holding it up right now, so I was happy about that. Other than that, we're gearing up for W-2s, 1099s, 1095s, 1096s, all this good reporting and ACA reporting and whatnot for the end of the calendar year. And as Alan had said about our facility meeting, we had some inspections on our facilities, and Dan is scrambling trying to find the right things in place for all those kind of things for our facilities. And MSGIA, which we have our workers' comp insurance with, and also Payne West, which is our Western States Liability and Property Insurance, have both generously said that they will do anything and everything they can to help us out and get us compliant with where we're supposed to be with trainings. They have even more and better on the line for the staff to be able to enlist in, and easier for them, more on their own timelines and by email or webinars that would bring us back into line.
And participating in those trainings will reduce our premium impact.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, and sometimes it's just like you said, the email to the staff on bad days to just say, remember to wear your sturdy shoes from the school to the building, because that's where we have a lot of our slip strips involved. So, yeah, that overall it's been busy, but good.
Any questions for Pamela? Pamela, so you're anticipating the audit will be finalized, probably not early enough for the January meeting? Are we thinking maybe to February?
That's what we're hoping.
And will we be able, I remember last year we had a lot more board participation and I appreciated it. We had the final report was done during a regular meeting, and then we had the auditors on the phone and we could ask some questions.
And he did offer that again.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the exit interview over lunch.
Right.
And it was just our office staff and them, and so we just had I guess an official but informal.
There's a component to that there are several questions they have to ask them,
Right.
and so they want to have some time with you guys.
And doing that, whether it was a special board meeting right before the regular board meeting or part of it, I don't remember, but it was much more effective that way, and we had more people able to participate. So I anticipate we will do that again next year.
Yeah, and he did offer that.
Okay, good. Okay, I see no further questions. So moving along to the item number 11, which is the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be removed for individual consideration? Okay, having no suggestions to do so, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Continuing with new business, number 12, recommendation to move January board meeting from January 16th, which was a Monday?
Monday, non-school day.
To January 17th, which is Tuesday, but people are in school. So,
Most importantly, I think, Madam Chair, is that people are in school, but so are kids.
right.
And I like having a group of students that can be present during that time, and so it makes sense for us to have a board meeting when students are also present during the day that they can come here. I have a feeling that on a non-school day, they may not show. So.
And same with having staff have to come in on a,
Correct.
Trustees, if you could pull out your calendars, would you be available to attend if we move the meeting to the 17th? Okay, at this time I would accept a motion to recommend that change.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Any comment from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor of moving the January board meeting from January 16th to the 17th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The change is approved. Number 13, recommendation to approve policy. Mr. Wells.
3 policies, again, initiated by Montana School Board Association and state law. First one, school wellness. Prior to state law change, we would review that policy when needed. State law now says that we're doing it every 3 years. So it's that one's pretty self-explanatory, in which makes sense. The policy 3121, enrollment attendance procedures. That is a start of a much larger conversation, and that is aggregate hours, attendance seat, and performance. And so what state law has passed is that students can be granted, more importantly, students can be granted credit for mastering concept. We've done that in the past, but what it now has allowed us to do is count, if those students master the standard and move on, we can still count them in our A and B.
Nice.
Yeah, so the process is that once they were gone, we couldn't count them any longer, and now that it says that we can. And so that was again, that's going to initiate some other conversations of what mastering standards look like and what assessments they're using to get to that point. And that last one, 8430, probably because of recent events in other districts, but the data breach is a new Montana annotated code. And so that one is a set of standards that we would follow, this protocol will follow through new state law on if we had a violation of our data being breached, that we would run through these steps. And it's, I have copies if you'd like to look at them, but it's lengthy and we would get legal involved at that time. It's pretty big. So those three were initiated through state law, and we're going to, that's what we met at policy meeting last week, or 2 weeks ago, and that's what's come before you.
Trustees, do you have any questions for Mr. Dupuy or Mr. Welch regarding the recommendations for changes in the policies as submitted?
I hesitate to.
Yeah.
So,
Come on, Tim.
Page 2 of the wellness, line 26 through 29. District may implement other appropriate programs to help us create a school environment. Consistent wellness messages, such as staff wellness programs, non-food reward systems, and fundraising. Not to pick on Cherry Valley, but we have a cookie dough delivery. Of course, that might be an issue for me because I eat it raw.
Which you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to.
So I don't know if that siding is that. I mean,
There certainly could be a difference between this policy and our wellness, what you can and can't serve. So, you know, the low-fat food during school hours, I'll get that information for you, but I know that between anytime you're serving nutrition food at lunchtime, that you can't serve high food or high-fat foods. And so I don't know if that's quite what you're asking. Is that?
well, just, I mean, it kind of specifically says if we're going to do this wellness program, then our fundraising activities should reflect that wellness concept as our paradigm is wellness. And so I'm not sure that cookie dough like fits that model there. So,
Tim, I totally see where you're going with this, but I think it's interesting that if you do look at the language, it is really soft pedaled. It's like the district may implement
there we go.
other. I think it's a suggestion that we be thoughtful about it, but I don't think it locks us into anything. But I think you bring up a good point as far as procedures versus policies.
Certainly, you know, historical, what we've done over a long period of time with high school, maybe that nullifies it because they're selling oranges. So we're balancing it out, right? So I don't know if the takeaway was to be ready.
Again, we have oranges.
They're gonna pick that Tupperware cookie dough over that orange.
So it's kind of carbon units that we can sell, and the sugar units that we can sell. I got, yeah, okay. All right, I'm good with it then.
Okay.
Okay.
Trustees, any other questions or comments regarding the policy changes as submitted? Seeing none, at this point, I would entertain a motion to accept the policies as submitted.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and second. Do we have any further debate? Do we have any public comment? Oranges or otherwise?
Yeah, well, the oranges are pretty good. But, you know, it makes me wonder, is this policy more on fundraising during school hours for like a bake sale or something to that, in terms of, because if you think about the fundraising, I mean, if you're going to talk about fundraising for cookie dough, then our concession stand at ball games is a fundraiser. And we don't follow any wellness in that.
Because it
I mean, in terms of, so is that, that's where my question would be, to answer that question, is it talking about 8 to 4? Because, I mean, I just want to make sure, because we make a lot of money on concessions.
I know that I just made a note that Joe brought.
And those hot dogs aren't.
I'm gonna find out where we're at.
So,
Again, I think we're safe in that it doesn't say must, it says may.
yeah.
May implement, it does not say must implement.
Right.
And then, but it is weirdly vague, because then it also says a school environment. So how do you define that
Exactly,
environment? Is
yeah.
that 8 to 4, or is it after hours, or?
My point is that
Yeah.
a good point of clarification, because we have those issues.
There may also be a distinction between who's sponsoring it too, because like the cookie sale is sponsored actually by the parent organization, not by the school itself. So there may be a distinction there.
Yeah, good point.
And then who's deciding what nutrition is, because it's a cookie dough or a hot dog? What's the difference? Right?
Trustees, given this conversation, would you prefer to address these issues, policies one at a time, and maybe table the policy 321P about the, no, is that the one? No, the 2510 about school wellness? No.
I don't really want to be known as the Grinch.
Let's
just forget I even said anything.
Let's find out where we're at.
We have kale chips at the games because of this.
And again, I'd like to point out, it says may and not must, and I will stand on that, because I don't like my lettuce furry. I just have a problem with kale. Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. We have a comment. Do we have any further debate? All those in favor of approving all 3 policies as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The policies are passed as submitted. All right. Number 14, recommendation to approve the personnel report.
High school district, are you with me?
Uh-huh.
Good news is you'll see that there's a bus driver.
Ooh, yay!
That's good. It is, as it stands, there's 3 coaching substitute volunteers and 1 bus driver for your approval.
Okay.
Fingerprints came in on the bus driver, so we were waiting for those.
Trustees, any questions regarding the high school personnel report?
No, I'm making a motion we approve the high school personnel report as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the high school district personnel report. Do we have any further debate? Public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the high school district personnel report as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The high school report is approved. Moving on to the elementary school district personnel report.
Elementary, well, significant, Trey Fowdy took a position, so we lost him. Recommendation for hire. There's a bus driver, obviously, and then book race, wrestling, and then substitutes and volunteers on the bus.
Any questions regarding the elementary report? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further debate? Do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the personnel report for the elementary school district as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The elementary school district personnel report is passed. Seeing no further business before this board, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you for your time. There's a lot of special meeting in this. Appreciate it.
You guys, although you should have an electronic copy somewhere, if you don't, take home your paper copy of that evaluation report. Let me know if you need one